And when the night falls, loneliness falls. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me.
To the flow, DJ running it back once more. Time to party, that's all I know. Grab somebody, tell them baby, 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 let's go. Bang, make it, bang, make it bounce. Bang, make it bounce. Shake it, break it, make it bounce. Bang, make it, bang, make it bounce. Shake it, break it, make it bounce. Gypsy, tipping in bras, 150s, pulling up NASCAR, black car, kissing on everyone, sipping whatever we feeling. Real good, hands to the ceiling. Dancing, we dizzy, we spinning. All about money, the night's never ending, we party.
Woo! Welcome to the Rockstar Retreat! Welcome, Rockstars! Whew! That was a workout. Anyways, Rockstars, we have a jam-packed day in front of us today. And what I wanted you to know is that there's going to be a lot of information thrown at you. There's a lot of information coming at you, and we can't do it all. You need to understand, as Sarah and I have both learned in our businesses, that we need to take it in bits and pieces and do what works best for us, not comparing to each other. Working our own business is our own success, and doing our best is what we're asking. So take what you learned today in bits and pieces, do your best, soak it all in, and have fun.
It was easy for Tracie and I to kind of come up with this script because those are things we've actually felt. It's easy to get stuck in comparing myself to someone. We're so similar, you know, same age, kids, same town, both love to run, and be like, why aren't I at the same level? And as soon as we moved past that, our friendship got better, our businesses got better, and we just became better people. So there's going to be something today that totally inspires you and changes your business and changes the way you interact with your challengers and your coaches. So don't be intimidated, just be inspired, and you're gonna get everything out of this. So now we wanna introduce co-founder of Team Rockstar Fit from Long Island to California to now Alpena, Vito Fata.
Thanks, girl. How fun was that? Are you guys ready to bring it for this summit? We want to hear that. Listen, we know that you traveled far to a location that is not necessarily the most convenient. It speaks volumes about you, because if you miss a plane here, you end up in Pellston or Saginaw or something like that. Man, you guys did a lot to get here, and that just speaks volumes. But I really want to give a shout out to the coaches and the Emeralds that came out here, because right now your business might not be showing it, but yet you still took a leap of faith to come here, to learn, to invest in yourselves. That speaks so much about what you believe this business can do for you, the dreams, and the lives that you're going to go impact. So give yourselves a round of a hand to the coaches and the Emeralds. Diamonds, star diamonds, you got nowhere else to be but here. Because you're the leaders, and you set the example for the rest and the others. What I ask of you guys in particular is to open yourselves. Share with the other coaches and the Emeralds and meet new ones and let them know what you went through, how you dug it out. Make friends. I know some of you coaches came by yourselves. That takes so much courage to do that. These leaders and these people will embrace you like their own. The one thing when you're here that will kill you above all else, though, is that whole idea of, yeah, I know that. A pro hears something and says, you know what? I could do that. I could take that one more step. So I want you to learn with that and learn with the idea that maybe there's something here that you know, but you need to go back and teach with your team a little bit more. That's where we got to be operating from while we're here. Over the next 2 days, you're going to hear from some of the top coaches on their strategies for building their teams, how they run their challenges, how they work their leadership. It's your job to take that back to your teams. Take notes with the idea that not everything is what you're going to need, but one thing could be what inspires and changes your business from here on out. Are you listening for that? Because I remember when we got our start, when Trina and I got our start, we were sitting in a room somewhat like this at another summit, and there just came this point where her and I looked at one another across from a seat. We just kind of leaned forward, and we were like, why not us? We got this. And we never looked back in the 5 years to what we've built today. Who, this weekend, do you need to look at and say, we got this? Maybe it's somebody in this room that you need to look at and say, we got this together. And then you're going to set the intention, and you're going to be determined to never stop and take it all the way. Can you do that this weekend? Beautiful. All right. Then we just have one more superstar to bring out and help introduce to this team. Now, some might look at her and be like, she's Wonder Woman, last seen, going over a tall building, faster than a speed train. But what she's more likely to actually be doing is setting up a backstage pass, running a challenge, creating content to help this team and you go to another level. She's a millionaire club earner, former cab member, superstar diamond coach. She's a fitnesspreneur that owns a studio, owns a health club. She's a mom of 2. She's an amazing wife. Can you get rid of the excuses that you don't got the time, that you got too much on your plate? Because if she can do it, you guys can do it. Let's give a warm round of applause for fellow co-founder of Team Rockstar Fit, Trina Gray.
That was so nice. You could call me like
No, it's a Wonder Woman.
Oh my gosh. My biggest fear is charades. So when other people fear public speaking, I fear charades. So my sweat right now from watching my 2 friends perform a skit for you guys, all I could think of was, I'm so glad that's not me. So there's something to that. And here's my lesson for you in this. Why do I fear a game like Pictionary or charades? It makes me so uncomfortable in any circumstance, anywhere, to try to pretend to be someone I'm not. And I've learned something about myself in that who you show up as all the time, everywhere you go, is who you show up as. It's who you are. It's how people see you. So I can't even get over in my own head at a fun dinner party with friends to get up in front of people and act something out because I'm physically uncomfortable being someone that I'm not. So I decided to use that as a strength. And I want to encourage all of you to make that a strength. That you have less fear, and maybe actually it's that you have more bravery. You just need this much more bravery than fear to succeed in life. Maybe you just have this much more bravery when you show up as you, all you, unabashedly, completely you. So I was inspired to tell you a story today based on a fun conversation I had with a group of ladies randomly up in my office at the house last night. Sometimes the best lessons are born out of just strange circumstance of all walking up the stairs together. They wanted to see where my office was, and we ended up sitting down and chatting. And Natalie Tenaci said something, and I went to bed thinking about it. And I want to share the story with you. About 5 years ago, I had this dream of wanting to live on the lake. And it wasn't within reason for us. It wasn't going to happen with the bills and the overhead and the expense of a club and my husband's job. He's got a great job. He works for the government. It's like 2% raises, maybe, right? It wasn't going to happen. And there's this beautiful house on the lake that I bet you guys have all driven by 10 times since you've been here. And that's the house I wanted. And I printed it out and I put it on a dream board. And a little bit after that, one of my good friends in town bought the house. And her husband's an anesthesiologist. And they had the ability to do that. And it frustrated me. I remember actually getting angry instead of being able to be happy for them. They deserved that house, they earned that house. But on the inside, I had this burning feeling that, like, why can't somebody in fitness, why can't somebody who promotes wellness have a house on a lake? Who wrote the rules that every house in town that I wanted was either an insurance agent, a doctor, an anesthesiologist? Who wrote those rules? How about I just break those rules? I literally just decided, I'm gonna do this. And you might think that that's odd to be driven a why. That sounds so shallow. Her why was to live on the lake. Yeah, it was, because it's the lifestyle that I wanted. It was the family upbringing that I wanted for my kids. So one rainy day in early May, it was raining and cold, if you can imagine that, in May in Alpena. I woke up on a Sunday morning and I said to my husband, can we drive out to Grand Lake? It's an inland, beautiful lake about 30 minutes north of Alpena. We used to rent a tiny little shack, is the best word I can come up with. Shack of a one-bedroom thing. It had like a screen door that popped open and shut. We rented it for the whole summer for several years. For about $2,000, we got it for the whole summer. And we were incredibly happy there. Super simple. The toilet sometimes worked. We all shared one little, my kids were like laying on top of us. It's very romantic. We were so happy there. And that was the vision I kept thinking, is that we're so happy as a family when we're out at the lake. But I wanted more for myself than this little shed. So I said to Jeff, can we drive out to Grand Lake? I have this idea. So we got the kids in the car at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. It's raining. We drive out to Grand Lake, and there's this beautiful cottage. It's white and has this rolling big backyard, and it looked like Nantucket to me. And I asked my husband to pull in the driveway. I got out of the car. I walked down these huge cascading sets of stone stairs, and I knocked on the door. And this woman answered. And I said, is there any chance this place is for sale? And she said, no. And I said, I thought I remember once, because we rent that little shed right over from you. I thought I remember once when we were running through your backyard, I thought I remember seeing a for sale sign. It may have been a couple years ago. And she said, yeah. When my husband was diagnosed with lung cancer, we put the cottage on the market. But I took it off because he's gotten really sick and I just can't deal with selling a house. And I said, do you know my kids? They run through your backyard a lot. And she said, oh, you've got those two little ones. I remember who you are. And I said, we're really happy out here. We really love it out here in the summers. We'd love to have a place of our own. Can I give you my name and number, and if you ever change your mind? She said, sure. I never even went inside. 2 weeks later, I'm at the airport in Alpena. The pilot put my bags on the plane and got on the plane, right? Right before I boarded, my phone rang, and it was the woman. And she said to me, I feel like you were an angel who came into my life at just the right time. I don't know why you knocked on my door that day, but I'm gonna sell you my house. My husband's really sick, and we're gonna call in hospice soon. And I don't wanna be out here alone by myself. And I think about if I hadn't knocked on the door that day. And I wonder how many doors you haven't knocked on in your life. And I think that the thing that holds us back from knocking on doors is our own fear of what's on the other side. Well, the woman said no, and we drove back home. The only thing we lost was a gallon of gas. If I hadn't knocked on the door, she never would have called back. My family wouldn't have 5 years of amazing family memories on the lake. I dreamt about doors last night after this conversation, and I woke up this morning in my bed Googling quotes on doors. And there's one I found that I really, really liked. And it went something like, she knocked on the door and then waited. For sometimes, if the door that opens is within, it will lead to someplace even greater. Right? Instead of knocking on doors and waiting for other people to open them for you, open your own doors from within. And the place it might take you is someplace even greater. Which leads me to want to encourage you to shut some doors. I really, really want you to shut some doors on your self-limiting beliefs that are holding you back. And you've heard this before, and you've read this before, and you've heard it on podcasts before, but have you done it? You think you're too old, you're too young, you don't have the right degree, people know more than you do, they have more connections, they have more time, they have more certifications, they're more fit, people like them more, they're prettier, they're shorter, they're taller, blah, 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 blah. Shut those doors. Shut those doors. You will not go anywhere if you don't believe in your ability to go there. You won't go anywhere if you don't first believe that you're meant to go there. So, our theme for the weekend of dreaming big and loving the grind. As much as I hate charades, I'm going to do this one motion for you. Because in my head, this is how I see that dichotomy. And I think if you see it and feel it like I do, you'll make it your own. You can't just be a coach who wants to dream big and reach out and want and want. I want those stars. I want those bonuses. I want that team. I want to be that leader. I want that house. That's just reaching. If you're willing to also love the grind, the way I see that and feel that in my own body is that if you were going to do this. Thank you for those two people. So, dreaming big is reaching forward, taking your leg in opposition, being willing to do the work. Lengthening, reaching. It feels better in my body. It feels better in my life to be willing to dream big and love the grind, to do both. We have some people on the team who just do the grind. Running challenge groups, just hitting Success Club, just running groups, just group, creating content, creating posts, putting up posts, creating content, putting up posts, listening to the calls, taking notes on the calls. That's just living down here in the grind. But if you're not doing those things to take yourself someplace, you're missing both. Dreaming big, loving the grind, believing that you're worth the journey, that you were intended to be as successful as you want yourself to be. I'm going to close with 3 tips, and I got these from watching my family. And I learned some of my best lessons from watching my kids, my husband, other people, really. So tip number 1 is that success is limitless. And when you come somewhere like Alpena and you see a whole lot of local successful coaches in our zip code, you think, oh, there's not room for me there. There's already too many successful people there. well, what if Sarah and Tracie had told themselves that line? Trina's already successful there. You can't be successful there. Really? They found a way. Success is limitless. And I first truly saw the lesson when we went to the Dominican Republic a few years ago. We walked through the hotel out the back door, and my son goes running out the back door to the beach, and he sees other kids already building sandcastles on the beach. And he said, there's not enough left for me. They've already built all the castles. And I remember just thinking, oh gosh, he thinks the sand is limited. He thinks there's not enough for him. And I said to him, Colt, there's plenty of sand on the beach to build the biggest, grandest castle that you want. What they're doing doesn't take away from what you're going to create. And I've thought of that and shared that over the years, that other people's castles, other people's successes don't take from yours. Success is like a beach. It is limitless. How far can you walk? How many trips will you make to the ocean and back? How many buckets will you carry? Success is limitless. Number 2. Success is in the actions, not the result. On Thursday night in a tiny little middle school in Rose City, Michigan, in a place so remote, I did not have one single bar of service for 50 miles, which is actually good for productivity. In this middle school on Thursday night, 3 nights ago, as people were arriving into town, I drove to watch my daughter's volleyball match. They lost the first one by a couple points. They won the second one by a couple points. It was the third game, and they were down by 6. They needed to win the third game to win the tournament. My daughter had played the first 2 games, and so she was sitting out the third game. They're down by 6, and they're about to rotate, and this next girl is about to walk up to serve. And I see the coach lean down the aisle and look at Jade. And I didn't see what she said, but I saw her look at her, and I just saw Jade sit up really tall and nod and stood up to go sub in. And I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no. She's not subbing her in for the girl serving, right? She wouldn't do that, right? She did. So Jade walks over, subs out the girl who's about to serve. We're down by 6. In the previous 2 games, Jade had not gotten her serves over the net. Had not gotten her serves over the net. And I feel the parents around me look at me. And I was like, I didn't play volleyball. I don't know. I can't help her with this. So she stands up. I didn't play volleyball. She bounces the ball twice. She rocks back. She holds it up. She tosses it. Bam! Like a bullet. 6 in a row. Not returned a single one. 6 in a row, right? A few minutes later, they lost the game by 1. And when I saw her walk off the court and greet her teammates in big hugs as 7th grade girls do, I just watched from a distance and thought, why is it that I feel disappointed and they do not? And I walked up to her afterward, and I was fighting back tears. It's just been an emotional week. I was so proud that I had gone to the game when there were so many reasons not to. And I walked up to her after the game and said, wow, you did a really great job. I'm so sorry about the score. And she said, Mom, we never gave up. And I just left because I just felt like I was going to start crying. For a 12-year-old to say, I don't care about the score. We never gave up. Success was in the action that day, not the outcome. It was in the action. And what I saw in one of the greatest coaching moments I've seen is whatever that coach said to her in that one moment She stood up tall, she walked to the court, and she dominated. And I asked her that night when she got home, we had a house full of people, and I pulled her aside and said, "What did your coach say to you?" And she said, she looked at me and said, "Jade, we need points on the scoreboard, and I believe you're the one to get them." She just believed. That's it. She hadn't gotten a single serve over the net in 2 games, and yet her coach believed. And so she did. Who do you believe in? First and foremost, believe in you. First and foremost, believe in you. Then pay that belief forward and watch what other people can do. My last and final lesson, number 3. Success is doing the right things when no one's watching. And I know you know this. It's just getting things done when no one's watching, asking, directing, telling, giving a checklist, checking in on you, calling you, texting you, putting you in a training, following up on you. It's just doing the things when no one's looking. And I thought of this morning at 5:30 when I heard my husband get out of bed. And by 7:30 in the morning when he was bringing me here, in those 2 hours, he had taken down all the tables from last night, had helped start taking down the tent. He had gotten bagels and breakfast for the whole house. He had gone to Bay Urban and packed up all that logo wear and all those cups you see out there. 2 hours of work behind the scenes when no one was asking, when no one was directing, you just did the right thing. In your business, can you just do the right thing? Can you do it when no one has to always hand it to you? Because there's a lot of stuff for us to hand you. There's a lot of trainings, there's a lot of checklists. Can you just do it without someone having to give you every single step? Can you be resourceful? Can you learn it? Can you trial and error and fail and just do it? And then any help you get along the way is gravy. That's how I see it, and I would love for you to see it this way. Take action on your own, the daily action. Don't worry about the outcome. Jay didn't win the game. She dominated her serves. Take action when no one's looking. Do it. And then when you do get help from your sponsor, your upline, your team, that's gravy, because you were already doing it anyway. Yes? All right, my friends. We are going to have an amazing 2 days. For those of you who are here with us all day, today and tonight, I want you to soak up every ounce of this, every conversation in the hallway, who you sit by at lunch, who you talk to tonight. The whole experience is what's going to change your business. I love that you made the trek here. I love that you're learning to love Alpena as much as we do. And I love that your mind is open to dreaming big and loving the grind.